and he carries your district by significant digits. Every day, but it's really a microcosm of the growing Republican electorate that helped President Trump win in 2016, and we need to maintain coverage coming back to D.C. I think the calculation is slightly different. I think we slowly started to see her evolve into someone who was willing to be a little bit more supportive of certain policies of his. And she acted on the campaign trail. And I think most people.
Yeah, that was something we don't see around here that often. Or I don't catch them, but yeah. Only caught that thing because I was watching the horizon and I saw smoke on the horizon. That's why you gotta keep your eyes and ears and nose ready. I don't even know where I'm at on the map. I have to look at a map to find where I'm at. We're somewhere north of Warren, Ohio. That's all I know. No clue. I mean, it was so heavily involved even when they arrived. You know, a tiny building, old, tiny wooden structure that just went up like nothing, you know. Nobody inside, no injuries. There you go. All right, where's my turn at? It's farther up here than I thought. Just gonna Alright, here's where we turn. Where is the street? There it is. Okay. Oh. Yeah, it's too bad I didn't have a little trailer behind me today. There was a lot of good deliveries down here I might have been able to get. Working. We are at the right place. I better look at the other map. Yeah. We're at the right place. I think this might be it. Huh. Let me think here. Maybe it's this one. I don't know. No. This is not finding the. All right. I'm at the right place. Where is this address at? It's Hi, Crystal. This is Dan delivering your Home Depot stuff. So I'm having trouble finding your address on a mailbox. No, it doesn't tell me those things. Yeah, big. Because I'm roughly. Okay. Because I'm at the address. I mean, I see the big white fence back there. No, I mean, there's a big white fence on the back of all these houses over here. Okay, hold on. I think I might be on the wrong piece of. Yeah, there's a lot of houses where I'm at. I'm on Housel. I'm not on your street then, probably. That's what's right. Gotcha. Yeah, I've seen this before. All right, let me. Um, okay, okay, yeah, because I am Hosel, not North Park. That's why it's confusing me. I should pay. No, I should pay attention to the address, not the street. I mean, you know what I mean. That's okay. I suck myself into these things all the time. I don't pay. I follow the blue dot instead of the address. I'll be there in a second. That's okay. I'll be okay. Thanks. Bye. All right. All right. Let's find the right address. All right. I do this every time. I don't pay attention to where I'm at. There's North Park. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Silly boy. Hey. Yeah. When Google messes up and you follow the blue dot, then you really mess up. Sometimes really mess up. I think that's their place around the corner here. All right. Oh, let the cars go. These cars are going fast. Country roads. Oh, look at some addresses. Which side of the road do I want to be on? Can't read these addresses. Oh, I hate that. God, I hate that. 50. I went the wrong way. Can't read these addresses on this side of the road. I hate this. 52. The wrong way. I think she did say turn right. Silly boy, silly boy. What's my address again? Yeah, it's the other way. There's a red barn. That's probably it. Yep. All right, we got it now. Easy peasy. Kitty cat. Look at a kitty cat. Hey, baby. Hello. Oh. Yep, this is way out. Far out, man. Way far out. Okay, I gotta figure out where I'm going. Oh, I gotta look at a map. I'm by Mosquito Creek Lake. Mosquito Creek State Park. Yeah, there ain't no deliveries out here. Delivery over there, but that's going the wrong way. Yeah, we can't take that because we don't have a trailer. Doggone it. Hey, Dano. Shopping is difficult. Yeah, well, with Amazon Prime, it's all free, right? Walmart Plus, $12.95 a month. But yeah, it's a long way to real places, kinda. This is about 15 to 20 minutes to reality, depending on your reality. Come on, map. Got no internet connections out here. It's terrible. All right, let's figure out how I'm getting back out of here. All right, let's get onto another map. Get onto another. Oh, that's not the right map. Just getting stuff. Hey, Kathy. Oh, where are we? Oh, there's nothing out here. Oh, I'm going back to sleep. All right, which way do we get back out of here? Of course, I am in between any kind of real road, right? We are in Bristolville, Ohio. All right, I got to figure out which road to get to. We got to go into Parkman. All right. Come on, map. Give me some roads. Oh, I'm way out in the boonies with a weird connection, probably. So, I had a horrible connection at that fire. Where are we at here? All right, I'm gonna go right back here to the corner. Turn right. Let me think I'm facing west. Good boy. But what if I'm on the underside of the flat earth? Am I still facing west? Where's this other road at? It's right up here. There it is. Whatever this road is. Weight limit 5 tons. driving into the sun. I love it. Well, I've got somebody that'll debate you on that.
No rubbish. Finally, after a good 3 or 4 minutes, the last puppy sort of half jumps, half falls off the couch.
Still going over. It's the biggest sucker I've ever seen.
Namely, suddenly my businessman dad was talking so much and so fervently about puppies. It was kind of weird. Question was just when I got question, it was insane that I was
Buggy, little horse buggy. It's a little turkey. Around midnight, maybe. I'm not sure. Girls. Yes. Not much different in Cleveland.
Based on our research, that Republicans would appeal to a very small segment of people. That segment would be big enough to get success.
But even a small cable channel was a huge venture compared to anything my father had done before. By his reckoning, he each raised $7 million to go on the air, or he needed a big cable to buy his idea. And so, he and Carol went hustling. After 25 years of being at the center of their own small familiar world, they suddenly found themselves in middle age, on the fringes of a much larger and stranger one. There were cable conventions.
We had a little tiny booth way in the corner, and we had 1 million people coming around wanting to get our video.
And what was your role there?
Dog.
But no, the name.
What's your best day? People like Ted Turner, Barry Diller, were all about the channel. Our father couldn't make the sale.
One of the TV professionals that we talked to was talking about the amount of space on a satellite. They call it bandwidth today. That it takes to have a commercial TV network show. He said,
Yeah, some camp. Some here. There's here for me. Trailers. Green. Oh, Paradise Lakes.
There would be no talk, and that seems to be a big part of what you liked about the idea of writing about why were you so interested in them? Channel where nobody talked.
Paradise Lakes. All right, I gotta look at a map again. Figure out which way I turn here.
One person my father talked to characterized the Puppy Channel as the antidote to television. And in the end,
Where are we at on this map now? We're over here. Do we keep going on this road all the way through to there? If we do, then we have to we're out in the middle of nowhere. Middle of nowhere. Oh, Iceman. Yeah, I'm way out in the boonies.
We just don't know what that number is.
when we find out what that number is, I'll be there with my dad. And we'll be singing this song. Take us out, Dad.
I love the little puppies. Pretty little puppies. I love little puppy on the Puppy Channel. Every little pup on TV.
Someone's forget. It's the story of 2003. This is the incredible demand for cute puppy videos on YouTube. There's the Puppy Bowl on Animal Planet. There's TV. I'm delighted in the fact that this idea is a cozy corner of the world for watching puppies caught in the act of being cute.
It's a very nice little area out here, but yeah, it's a long way from stuff.
Every day, Joe plays this man. He starts with enough small bills to make change, lots of fives and ones. Then the clock starts. It's 1:30 in the morning.
I go out with almost nothing in my pocket in the morning. Sometimes I end up with thousands. Sometimes I end up broke in the day.
So how much do you have in your pocket today?
I got $32 in my pocket today. By 6 o'clock, I should have at least a couple $100. I take it from there.
By 6 a.m., he meets Joe, who doesn't want me to use his last name, drives a super stretch limousine in Las Vegas. Joe says he prefers starting in the middle of the night. He doesn't like crowds or traffic. Here's how his game works. By driving his limo to and from the airport mostly, Joe slowly earns enough, a few $100s, to play blackjack in the casino. and then pretty much the sky's the limit.
Sometimes I end up with 10 grand, you know. One time I started out with like $32 or $33.
Like today.
Like today, and I wound up with $84,000 at the Gold Coast.
$84,000?
$1,000.
How do you turn 32?
I try and build it up to like 1,000, and then I play with 1,000. I build it up to 3, 4, and you get on a run.
Joe's a bit of a legend in Las Vegas gambling circles. I'd heard about him from a pawnbroker south of the Strip who said Joe was a regular customer who came every month for about a year. Among the stories he told me, which led me to Joe, that he'd never worked a day in his life, that he lived only on a trust fund until he was 50, controlled by his father who despised his love of gambling. On his 50th birthday, the legend went, Joe inherited $6 million. He instantly spent the first $1 million on a house. The remaining $5 million he gambled away. It took him 5 years. Joe's true. Millions of dollars from his was a big piece of a gamble, million family.
People tell me, oh, look at the kind of life you lead, you know. I mean, one day I could have $1 million, the next day I'd be broke, but I love it. I love the action. I love the adrenaline. I get an adrenaline rush from it.
One day you have $1 million and the next day you're broke.
Yeah. I got it.
Is that an exaggeration or
No,
really?
it's not an exaggeration. I mean, I had days where I went and I won, like at the horseshoe, I won $680,000. I started the day out with like $50 in my pocket. And I went out and I bought 2 homes with some of the money, and I ended up losing the other money, and I needed money, so I borrowed on the houses, and then I lost the houses. I couldn't pay them. I go up and down, you know. It's like a roller coaster. But I really enjoy doing it. I know. I think without it, I'll just wilt away and die. See, this is one of the hotels in Barbary Coast Wall. I mean, if I go in there and sit down for 2 minutes, I'm not going to get up.
Joe has a long history of winning big in the casinos. So much so, and this is clear, about a dozen of them in Las Vegas have been out. He says most of them think he cheats what they say. Although, it could be that way. Not sure. Among the places where he's still allowed to today, with their names implemented to being, of course, or their casino. First is Big Name Casino, where doorman lets him approach potential customers from a singular driveway out front. Joe tips the doorman for each ride he gets, so he gives Joe first tips on every person who walks out the door.
You got it again?
With the approval of the doorman, lots of people say yes.
Isn't this a lot nicer than a cab? Say?
It's 2 a.m. with our first $15 coming in. Joe says he started waking up at these hours when he worked in New York operating vending machines and coffee carts, gambling in Atlantic City on the weekends. There too, he says, most of the casinos kicked him out. By the time he came to Vegas 14 years ago, he says he was ready to retire, but he gambled full-time for the first 8 years he was here.
Well, he's not a dishonest man by no means. But, you know, he's an opportunist. He's the type of guy, if there's an opportunity for him to, you know, to work the odds or make $1, you know, he'll make 10. he's one of them guys.
George, please don't mention my full name either or where I work, is a casino manager in one of the few places where Joe now plays. We met in an empty hotel ballroom, far from the casino floor.
They think he counts cards. He doesn't. He's very good at knowing when the deck goes cold, when there's not a chance of winning. If I were to own a casino and have 1,000 Joes walking around in my casino, I'd be out of business in short order.
Well, maybe not. Joe walks away with his winnings, but then he always comes back for more play. And that combination, George says, does to Joe what it does to everyone.
I see the numbers. There's not a player in this place, like on any casino I've ever been in, that has won more than they lost.
Never?
I'd say never. When you see the cumulative numbers.
And that's one reason why Joe is driving a limo.
These guys on a strip club, that would be great. That's 100 bucks.
5 a.m. and we've got $180.
What are you guys talking?
Joe has his eye on a group of guys who've clearly been out of town for most of the night. Joe's hoping these four are looking to go to a strip club because he gets a kickback of $20 a person.
So you guys having fun?
Yeah, I love being here.
As we drive, the stories keep coming. There was the day Joe won big at the racetrack and flew to London on the Concorde just for dinner. Or the 2-day stretch he was playing $20,000 a hand at the Hilton and walked away with over $1 million. These kinds of stories can't be confirmed, but I wanted to believe them. So he offers to show me what's in his trunk.
See, this is about $500,000 in markers right here.
Joe hands me a 3-inch stack of receipts from casinos all over town, totaling about $500,000. Evidence, he says, he wants me to see, that these can't all be lies. And what are those 20,000?
Yeah, they loaned me 20,000 to sit and play with.
Ah,
You know, if you lose, you got 30 days to pay it back.
these are 20,000, 20,000,
Yeah, they're all like.
25,000. How much is this?
This is my own Forbes magazine. I made like close to $1 billion.
He's your uncle?
Yeah, that's my own.
Billionaire?
Yeah.
Later, when I look into it, that story checks out, as does the one about his aunt, who Joe says sits on the board of the Metropolitan Opera in New York. He says she's the one who bails him out when he gets over his head in debt. Joe admits he's the black sheep in the family. How much do they give you?
$41.
It's 7:30 a.m. and we're up to $350 from the run to the strip club, 5 trips to the airport.
So we just keep going. I don't know.
There's a brief lull. Joe says it's time to go into the casino.
I'm gonna go play a little blackjack. The only thing is, I don't know if they're gonna let you. Of course, they want.
The casino won't let me record his play.
Anybody still here? We're out in the middle of nowhere. I got to make another decision which way to turn.
15 minutes or less.
Joe sits in front of a woman dealer with an empty table, and he's got that look, almost like a drinker who bellies up to a bar every night, like he belongs there. He signals the woman for cards and chips. And
That's the way to go, maybe.
signals. Each hand takes less than a minute. He plays a few and easily wins his $60 in 10 minutes. Or
All right.
less.
All right. I'm just having fun a little bit, listening to the story and
It was $410
driving in the country here.
time for airport runs.
See, now it gets busy, you know, so I don't have a chance to really go in and gamble because I'm, as long as I keep the cash coming in, or if it's, I supplement gambling. If it's not, then this is enough.
You would rather be gambling?
I'd rather be working.
Really? What happened to your feeling about the gambling? I mean, you gamble, you did nothing but
I can't
gamble.
just do it to you know, because I'm so hyper. I have to have something to do. You know, I used to sit like I was at the Flamingo one time, and I had about $40,000 in chips in front of me, and I was playing like $2,000 a hand. And I told the doorman, if you get a good ride, like to a golf course, come and get me, you know. So it was like for $75. Anyway, he came up to the table and he told me I got a ride for $75. And people in the pit, they all think I'm nuts. You know, I just stopped. I left, took my money, and I ran down to take the guy for $75. And here I am playing $2 grand a hand. You know, I try and separate the two. One has nothing to do with the other, you know.
I don't understand that.
You know, nobody does. But that's how I am, you know.
But do you understand that?
I know, you know, I just, gambling to me is gambling. Work is work, you know.
10 a.m. and we've got $650. We've had 3 more airport runs, and the last customer just gave him a $25 tip.
Only in America.
But Joe says today his game is subdued compared to the past. At age 54, he's had some heart trouble, and that's changed the stakes. A year ago, his daughter was home from college and noticed he didn't look well and called for an ambulance. Joe was having a heart attack.
That was pretty scary because
Yeah.
you see him, and I think he might have been in a casino, but I'm not sure.
I guess that's enough to really get your heart rate up.
Yeah. So I mean, if you ask me, I think he probably was, but he never told me for sure.
Joe's daughter knew what she was doing. She's studying to be a doctor in medical school in the Middle East. I talked with her via her cell phone while she was working at a hospital in some remote spot in Israel. She asked that I not use her name, not even her first name. What did you tell your friends your dad did?
Now or when I was growing up, because now even I don't, only a few people in my class really know of my good friends even.
What did you tell them then?
Then I would say, well, he's not really doing anything now, but he has real estate in New York. And sometimes I just make things up. I say he's a chef. And so, but it was always funny because I was running jokes between, me and my dad. But when I was growing up, I just couldn't tell people because nobody else had a dad like that. And so I felt like they would either not believe me or I would sound ridiculous and they just wouldn't understand.
When Joe moved to Las Vegas, his daughter was just entering high school. He raised her practically as a single parent, starting from the time she was born when his ex-wife had a breakdown. It wasn't until they moved to Las Vegas that she says she really understood just how much her father gambled.
I guess what always blew me away in the beginning is you walk in and everybody would know him. And they would know me too because he would talk about me. And I would say to him, how do people know you? I was amazed by that. And they would joke with him and they'd say, are you back again? And they'd say, well, what do you need today? Because he would go in sometimes and he would say, I need a pool today.
How much money does it take to build a pool?
$20,000? I don't remember how.
How long did that take?
Literally 10 minutes, maybe. 1, 2 streets, and that was it.
But as much as she knows her dad's wins, she remembers the times when they were broke. Really broke.
We would have to push for quarters on the floor. And with my uncle, this was really funny, to buy a hamburger or something like that.
Search for quarters on the floor in your uncle's?
Yeah, we would pick them up and I would go and get a hamburger. But that was in the very beginning. I mean, even when things are really bad, he can always find a way out of it. And even I would be amazed. I mean, because I would say to him, there's no way. How are you going to do that? And he'd say, don't worry, we'll find a way. And there's always a way. And he can just laugh about it.
Which airline you going to?
Southwest.
Southwest.
It's noon, and Joe has $1,100. The limo business has been steady for hours. It's a good time for business, but Joe wants to take a break to call his daughter.
I talk to her like 5 times a day.
It's late night in Israel. He just wants to hear about her day.
Hi, honey, it's me. I just called to say hi.
So what's happened since your daughter is gone?
Well, that's when I started to work. I never worked when she was here. This like filled my void, maybe in a way.
No, I took a delivery out of Warren to a little nowhereville called Bristolville. Now I'm just trying to work my way west to get back towards civilization. So I'm just driving across the grain on these little country roads out here near Parkman, Ohio. And the sun is in my eyes, and just listening to the radio, enjoying the nice drive.
Joe's carefully checking out a middle-aged couple in shorts and tennis shoes. Just as he's about to approach them, we're interrupted.
Hi, this is Joe. Oh, how you doing, Dave? What's up?
A lucrative job has come up. He says some high roller wants to charter his limo for 3 hours.
For 3 hours? Did you tell him it's $75 an hour, though?
Joe says these guys are seldom big tippers, but it's worth the gamble. This customer, handsome, mid-30s, middle-aged.
Here's another little buggy. Where's my...
So Joe tells me to take a break, and he'll catch up with me when he's done.
Look at the little horse buggy coming at us. I don't know if you guys could see the guy. I don't know if he's Amish or Mennonite. Well, not on this road probably, but yeah. This is, I forget the name of the road I'm on. some nowhere road with heavy weight restrictions on it. Well, roads like this, maybe, I guess. I suppose. Where are we at? I don't know. That's a dirt road that way. Pretty far out in the boonies. All right, back onto some better road here. I want to stop for a second. Hey, Brett. Sun is in my eyes. Oh, there's a Amish or something church. There's no power. You can tell those churches because they don't have any power going into them. Oh, there's an Amish farm. No power going to it. Yeah, nothing like going over a small bridge and ending up with a $100,000 repair bill, right? Oh, there's a nice house back there. Alright, got a car coming. Well, I guess I'm not going to get dinner with somebody tonight.
This is America Live from Aaron Glass. Each week on the program, of course, we choose a theme, bring you a variety of different kinds of stories on that theme. Today's program, starting from scratch. Stories of people starting over, with all the vulnerability and rawness that comes with starting from nothing. We've arrived at Act 3. The first, starting from scratch. But before there was money or gambling or TV or puppies or even the idea of before, there was this story about when everything started from scratch. Here's Jonathan Goldstein. In the beginning, when Adam was first created, he spent days rubbing his face on the grass. He pricked his ear until it bled, tried to fit his fist in his mouth, and yanked out tufts of his own hair. At one point, he tried to pinch his own eyes out in order to examine them, and God had to step in. Looking down at Adam, God must have felt a bit weird about the whole thing. It must have been something like eating at a cafeteria table all by yourself.
All right, we're back to civilization. Sorta. Entering Jaga County, leaving Portage County.
All by yourself for over 100 billion years. And yet still, you have nothing to talk about. It was pitiful the way Adam looked up into the sky and squinted. Before he created Adam, God must have been lonely. Now, he was still lonely. And so was Adam. Then came Eve. Since the Garden of Eden was the very first village, and since every village needs a mayor as well as a village idiot, it broke down in this way. Eve, mayor. Adam, village idiot. And that is the way it was from the very beginning. Sometimes when Adam would start to speak, you would get all hopeful that he was about to impart something important and smart. But he would only say stuff like, little things are really great because you can put them in your hand as well as in your mouth. Eve would ponder how one minute she was not there or anywhere, and now she was. Adam would ponder nothing. In her dreams, Eve danced in the tops of trees. Her beautiful thoughts flew out of her ears and lit up the sky like fireflies. And there were all kinds of people to talk to and hug. And then she would hear snoring. She would wake up and there would be Adam, his yokel face pressed right against hers, his dog food breath blowing right up her nostrils. Eve stared up at the sky. Adam draped his arm across her chest and brought his knee up onto her stomach. God, watching in heaven, feared for Adam's broken heart, as though the whole universe depended on it. Adam was close to the animals and spent all day talking to them. Except for God, Eve had no one. She would complain to the Lord any chance she got. Adam is a Nimrod, she would say, and the Lord would remain silent. God was the best and all that, and she loved the hell out of him. But when it came to trash talk, he was of no use. Adam was constantly trying to impress her. Look what I have made, he said one bright morning, his hands cupped together. Eve looked into his hands. She pulled away and shrieked.
There's a buggy.
Adam was holding giraffe feces. I've sculpted it, said Adam. It is for the Lord. He opened his hands wide to reveal to her a tiny little giraffe with a crooked neck. On some days, Adam galloped about exploring. His hair was wiry, and when it got sweaty,
Parkman Township.
Adam was cute this way. On one such day, he saw a snake. Adam made the snake's acquaintance by accidentally stepping on his back. Wow, that's smart, said the snake through gritted teeth. Their eyes locked, and in that very moment, the snake concluded that, indeed, Adam was a lummox, and that as king of the earth, his reign would very soon end. There was a new sheriff in town, and it was he. It was no longer the story of Adam, but the story of the snake. He could tell all of this just by simply looking into his idiot eyes. I've seen you around with another one like you, he said to Adam. But instead of the dead legless snake between the legs, she has chaos there. That's Eve, said Adam, all animated. I named her that myself. God made her from out of my rib. He showed the snake the scar on his side. The snake looked at Adam in silence. The idea of Adam the Schlemiel, Adam the fool, being God's favorite, was enough to give the snake a migraine. You aren't at all like I imagined, the snake said. I thought you'd be closer to the ground, more pliant, greener. I tried to explain to God that to make you balanced up on your hind legs was architecturally unsound. I don't know why I bother. Adam sat and listened wide-eyed. Eve hadn't the patience to sit and chat like this, so when the snake suggested they get into the habit of meeting every once in a while to talk, Adam was very excited to do so. As they lazed on their backs, staring up at the sky, the snake would brag about how he was older than the whole world, and that he used to pal around with God in the dark, back before creation. He said that in the darkness it was a truer, freer time, that in the darkness was the good old days. He told Adam that back in the very beginning, he had all kinds of thoughts on how to make the Garden of Eden a better place, but that God was just too stubborn to listen to reason. Make the earth out of sugar, I told him. Instead of stingers, give bees lips they can kiss you with. Adam didn't always agree with the snake. In fact, a lot of what the snake said went straight over his head. But there was still something about him that made him get into a very particular mood. He made the world feel bigger. Sometimes when Adam was with Eve, sitting there in icy silence, he would think to himself, I sure could go for a good dose of snake. You would think that after all the time they spent together, the snake would finally find it within himself to start liking Adam, just a little bit. But instead, he only grew to hate him more. He took to comforting himself with thoughts of Adam's wife, Eve. From what he heard from Adam, she was hot and smart. Often he would imagine running into her, and the instant synergy they would have. Adam neglected to tell me how leggy you are, he would say, wrapping himself around her calf. The snake had no idea what he looked like. He was hairless, buck-toothed, 4 inches tall, and he spoke with a lisp. Adam had the IQ of a coconut husk, but he was still human. The snake, in his arrogance, was unable to grasp this, and so he daydreamed. Sometimes I think you were watching me, the snake imagined saying to Eve, because I felt like there were ribbons wrapped around me, ribbons made of raw pork intestines. I would turn around to catch you sneaking a peek at me from behind a tree, but all I'd see were the hedgehogs which mocked me. Come, my dear, let us eat from the tree of knowledge. On Eve's very first
Yeah,
day,
sun
Adam
is
explained
kicking
the
my
rules of the
ass.
garden, just the way God had explained them to him. He had lifted his head up,
Very
and made his
bright.
back stiff. He had spoken the way a radio broadcaster from the 1940s would. Another kind of woman, someone softer than Eve, might have found this charming. He explained that except for the tree of knowledge, every tree in the garden was theirs to eat from. I am a fan of the pear, Adam said. It is not unlike an apple whose head craves God. Tell me more about this tree of knowledge, said Eve. She enjoyed the sound of it, the tree of knowledge. It sounded very poetic. There's not much to tell, said Adam. If we eat from it, we will die. From then on, Eve talked about the tree of knowledge all the time. It was tree of knowledge this and tree of knowledge that. It's like it wasn't a tree at all, but a movie star. Sometimes she would just stand by the tree and stare at it. It was on such an occasion that she met the snake. When Eve first caught sight of him, she brought her hand to her mouth and gasped. She had seen some repulsive animals in her day, but still, there was something about the snake that made her realize in a flash that the world was anywhere from 60 to 80% oilier than she would have ever imagined. Hi, said the snake. In the mood for some fruit of knowledge? It's fruity. We were told not to eat from that tree, or else we would die, said Eve. Die? What an ignorant thing to say, said the snake, all chewing on a blade of grass in the side of his mouth. If there is an escape hatch from paradise, then it isn't really paradise, is it? The snake made interesting points. That appealed to Eve. He could see he was making an impression. All I'm saying is to give it a try. Many things will be made immediately clear to you once you partake. I could talk about it all day and you still won't get it. You have a right to at least try it, right? I'm not saying go out and eat an entire fruit. Have a nibble. A nibble isn't really eating, is it? Eve found arguing semantics exhilarating. She looked at the tree. The way the sun shined through its leaves was beautiful. Everything seemed to point to nibble the fruit. Then the snake said, think about it. Does God want companions who can think for themselves, or does he want a bunch of lackeys and yes men? Wouldn't God want a few surprises? It would seem to me that God's telling you not to eat the fruit was just a test to see if you could think for yourselves, to see if you could exist as equals to God. The day you taste the fruit is the day God will no longer be lonely. At least give it a lick.
Oh, the canoe livery. I forgot about that.
Then she looked at the snake. Then, slowly, she parted her lips and pushed out her tongue, all wet and warm and uncertain. She ran its tip along the smooth flesh of the fruit. The snake smiled. Has anyone died? He asked. Now take a tiny little nibble, just a speck, just a seed. The fruit was squishy and tart. She smushed it around in her mouth. She squinted her eyes. It was a bit like trying on new glasses. It was a bit like an amyl nitrate popper. It was a bit like a big wet kiss on the lips right at first when you weren't sure if you wanted to be kissed or not. She felt 1,000 little feet kicking at her uterus. The idea of her own nudity, as well as Adam's, had always felt more like a Nordic co-ed health spa thing. Now, with the fruit of knowledge, it felt more like a Rio de Janeiro carnival thing. Her breasts felt like water balloons filled with blueberry jam and birds. Her nipples were like lit matchsticks. Her thighs, the way they swished against each other, were like scissors cutting through velour. With her lips still glistening in Tree of Knowledge fruit juice, she ran off to find Adam. The snake watched her as he chewed on a slimy blade of grass. And as she receded into the distance, he thought something along the lines of, no talking. Any lummox truly worth his salt could smell the minutest trace of knowledge coming his way, and thus he knew how to avoid it like the plague. But yet, there was also this. Eve had never sought him out in the middle of the day before just to kiss him. It felt like a very lucky thing. When he took her in his arms, he told her that he loved her with his whole entire heart. He closed his eyes tightly and brought his lips to hers. Then he squinted. Then it started to rain, and Eve began to cry. During the darkest days ahead, with the fratricides and whatnot, Adam would often think back to his brief time in Eden. As he became an old man, he would talk about the garden more and more. A couple of times he had even tried to find his way back there, but he very soon became lost. He didn't try too hard anyway. He didn't want to bother God any more than he already had. When Adam met someone that he really liked, he would say, "I so wish you could have been there." It didn't seem fair to him that he was the one that got to be in Eden. "This sunset isn't bad," he'd say, "but the sunsets in Eden, they burned your nose hairs. They made your ears bleed." He couldn't even explain it right. "When you ate the fruit in Eden, it was like eating God," he would say, "and God was delicious. When you wanted him, you just grabbed him. Now when he ate fruit, he can only taste what was not there." But it wasn't all bad. After Eden, Eve became much gentler with Adam. After getting them both cast out, she decided to try as hard as she could to give Adam her love. She knew it was the very least she could do. She sometimes even wondered if that was why God had sent the snake to her in the first place. Adam would tell his grandkids, his great-grandkids, and his great-great-grandkids about how he and Nana Eve had spent their early days in a beautiful garden, naked and frolicking, and the kids would say, "Ew." The children would swarm into the house like a carpet of ants. The youngest ones would head straight for Adam, lifting his shirt to examine his belly for the umpteenth time. They smoothed their hands across his flesh and marveled. "Where's Grandpa's belly button?" they all asked. He stared at the children. They were all his children. And as they slid their little hands across his blank stomach, he wondered what it was like to be a kid. Jonathan Goldstein. The story appears in the book where he rewrites Bible stories called Ladies and Gentlemen, the Bible. Jonathan's also the writer and host of the really wonderful podcast, Heavyweight. You can listen to it for free on Spotify. Special thanks today to Mr. George Lara. Thanks also to Kevin Scully, Dave Dahlstra, and Tony Mancini.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool, Levi. That was a pretty cool tale of Adam and Eve, huh? They still aren't? Really? Wow. I think somebody sent me a link today about the Jay-Z is up for getting in. I could care less, but Tina Turner and Carole King. That's a travesty. Those were some cool stories. The guy in Vegas, I want to meet him. Oh. Yeah, I get back too late to meet somebody for dinner. Oh well. Oh. Hey, Baba.
For their melody, style, and craft, Ravel's Sonic Here's principal level Frank Rosenwein on a work of elegant simplicity. Written as homage to his teacher Frank Grange's telling musical portrait. The Cleveland Orchestra of style and creativity.
WHYY in Philadelphia, I'm Terry Gross. Today, Jean Smart, co-starring in HBO's Watchmen last year. Smart is now in 2 series, HBO's Mayor of Easttown and the new HBO Max comedy series Hacks, about the clash in lifestyle and sensibility between 2 women comics of 2 generations. Smart stars as a Vegas comic who once broke new ground for women, but now her jokes are stale and her career is in decline. So she reluctantly hires a young comedy writer who prides herself on being cutting edge. The review in Variety said, the show is destined to be a zeitgeist hit. Smart became famous in the 80s for the sitcom Designing Women and won 2 Emmys for her guest starring performances on Frasier. Later, Kevin Whitehead reviews a new album by alto saxophonist Vincent Herring, begun before he got COVID and completed after he recovered. First News. Live from NPR News, I'm Janine Hurst. There seems to be no end in sight for the Israeli-Hamas violence in the Gaza Strip. As Israeli airstrikes destroyed a high-rise building in central Gaza today, the latest escalation in the violence. Gazan officials say at least 65 people on the Palestinian side have died this week, including more than a dozen children.
Oh, thank you.
Gathered in several Israeli cities, street fights and attacks between Jewish Israelis and Palestinian Arab citizens of Israel. A crowd of Jewish men pulling a suspected Arab man from his car and beating him, and of an Arab crowd beating a Jewish man in another city. Colonial Pipeline has initiated the restart of its pipeline operations. That's the first step toward restoring normal supplies of gasoline in the southeast. As NPR's Camila Dominowski reports, it may take several days for the full effects to be felt, but experts are urging residents of the region to be patient.
Colonial is one of the country's biggest pipelines, supplying 45% of the East Coast gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. It was shut down for nearly a week after hackers broke into the company's computer systems to hold them for ransom. Turning a massive pipeline on isn't as easy or quick as flipping a switch. The company says it will take several days for the supply chain to return to normal, and there may be some intermittent service disruptions. Meanwhile, everyone from state governors to local gas stations is calling for calm. Panic buying and fuel hoarding have made shortages much worse than they had to be and could slow a return to normalcy. Camila Dominowski, NPR News.
The head of the CDC is clearing the way for kids as young as 12 to start getting the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. Dr. Rochelle Walensky today accepted the recommendation by a committee of independent advisors to the CDC to expand use of the Pfizer vaccine to include children ages 12 to 15. Some stores say they will start offering the shots starting tomorrow. The EPA has relaunched its main climate change webpage. And here's Rebecca Hersher reports updates to the page were suspended under the Trump administration.
The EPA collects climate change information from across the federal government. That includes data about weather, sea level rise, and drought, as well as information about the health effects of a hotter Earth. Announcing the relaunch, EPA Administrator Michael Keating said it's important for the government to provide reliable safety of communities and climate change, floods, melting sea ice, and other effects of climate change.
You're listening to NPR News. The U.S. budget deficit surged to a record $1.9 trillion for the first half of this fiscal year. It's because of the billions of dollars spent on coronavirus relief packages, including stimulus checks and extended unemployment benefits. The Treasury Department says the deficit so far this year is more than 30% higher than the deficit run-up over the same period a year ago. TV host Ellen DeGeneres says next season will be her last on her long-running Emmy-winning daytime talk show. And there's since 2000, Ellen DeGeneres has hosted her variety comedy talk show. She told The Hollywood Reporter that, quote, as great as this show is, challenge anymore. Ratings for the Ellen DeGeneres show dropped this year after former and current staffers accused it of having a toxic work environment. Warner Brothers DeGeneres staff and her TV audience.
I learned very recently in
Be kind. Manali Cabaco, NPR News. Wall Street was sharply lower by the close. The Dow down 681 points at 33,587. The Nasdaq down 357 points at 13,031. The S&P 500 down 89 points at 4063. All 2 or more percent. I'm Janine Herbst, and you're listening to NPR News.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include TIAA, who believes their clients' passion will never run out, nor will TIAA's commitment to not only get clients to retirement, but through it. TIAA.org/neverrunout.
It's Rachel Martin. There are certain things you can always count on. The sun rises and sets, clocks change come springtime, the weekend never ends the way you want it. Like clockwork, you can rely on
Damn it.
trustworthy journalism, keep you connected with your community. Listen every weekday at 5 a.m. for Join us for Morning Edition, weekday mornings from 5 to 9 here on 89.7 WBSU. This is Fresh Air. I'm Terry Ross. My guest, Jean Smart, has been getting roles that really show off what she can do. And as was recently noted in Entertainment Weekly, she excels at absolutely everything. In the TV series Fargo, she played the hardened matriarch of a crime family. Last year in the HBO series Watchmen, she played an FBI agent. Now she's co-starring in the HBO crime and family drama of Easttown as the mother of Kate Winslet's character. Comedic timing was obvious in the 80s sitcom Designing Women and in the early 2000s when she won 2 Emmys for her guest starring role in Frasier. This week, she returns to comedy in the new series Hacks, which premieres Thursday on HBO Max. In Hacks, she plays Deborah Vance, a comic who overcame a lot of the obstacles women comics of her generation faced and became a top act in Vegas, where she regularly performs at one of the big casinos. When the series begins, her career is in decline. Her jokes are kind of funny, but way past their expiration dates. The casino is cutting back her dates and is trying to book an act that can draw a younger crowd. In an attempt to save Deborah's career, her manager pairs her with a young woman comedy writer, Ava Daniels, who he also manages, to write material for Deborah that will sound more up to date. Ava, played by Hannah Einbinder, thinks of herself as cutting edge and cringes at the idea of writing for a comic she considers washed up and too show busy. But Ava desperately needs work because she was canceled after tweeting a joke about a closeted senator who sent his face into conversion therapy.
Hello.
So Ava reluctantly flies to
I'm a
Vegas
bit
to meet
tired,
Deborah.
so I am pulling off for a minute.
At one of their first meetings, Deborah
It
tells
could be a
Ava
long
that
minute.
the joke she's working on are very funny. Then Deborah asks Ava if she's a lesbian.
Faba,
Ava
faba,
responds
faba.
that Deborah is her employer, which makes it inappropriate for her to ask that.
How many miles have I
Deborah
driven
goes on to
today?
describe in graphic detail her sexual experiences with women and
I have
men,
driven
and how she was
239 miles today. That's a lot of miles.
Jesus Christ, I was just wondering why you were dressed like Rachel Maddow in a camp. Right? So, the jokes, you didn't like any? They're not jokes. I mean, like, they're like thought poems. I had a horrible nightmare that I got a voicemail. What? It's funny because voicemails are annoying. It's like just text. First of all, you start a sentence with, it's funny because, and it's probably not. And second, jokes need a punchline. Well, in my opinion, traditional joke structure is very male. So focused on the ending. It's all about the climax. Oh, look who's talking. I just got a TED talk about yours.
Jean Smart, welcome to Fresh Air. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. You're terrific in this, as you've been, yeah, for so long. So, you've done a lot of comedy, but this is the first time you've played a comic. Do you have any favorite jokes of the bad jokes that your character tells? Because they're both funny and bad at the same time. Oh, sure. I mean, I don't think her jokes is bad necessarily. It's just that, she's sort of got her stock style jokes, and she knows her audience really well, and she knows what they expect and what they don't want to hear from her, and she gives them what they pay for. I mean, as risque as she gets, is probably the first joke we hear out of her mouth at the very beginning of the show, where you can just kind of hear her before we even see her face, where she talks about being in bed with a guy who keeps saying, are you close? Are you close? And she says, yeah, I'm close. I'm close. I'm close to getting a buzz cut, a flannel shirt, and finally accepting Melissa Etheridge's dinner game night. I love that joke. Are there things you related to about the generational conflict in this? Because, the young...
I didn't know they built this big Yours Truly here. Huh. All right, I gotta take a break. I'm exhausted. My brain's exhausted. Yeah, it's a local chain. Good restaurant, diner, food, I've eaten at every one of them, except like this one, because I didn't know it was here. All right, I'm shutting down. I am certified toast here. Solent. I gotta chill for a few minutes. No, it's a local chain right here. That's all. It's very family owned, very well run organization. Yeah, well, when you're this tired, almost home doesn't. That's like almost, close only counts in horseshoes and grenades. I've been within a mile of my house and been so tired I could not make it home. It's a good place. I like the original one up in the east side. Uh, and actually, I like the downtown one. All right, I'm shutting down. I'm not gonna go in. I'm just gonna close my eyes, and that could be for 10 hours. I have to rest. I'm just super drained, tired. I've been up for a while, and I've driven 230 miles. Yeah, I haven't done the scope my nap in a long time. That's okay. I don't want to know what I do when I'm sleeping. All right. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. I'm exhausted. Made a little money today. Had fun. Got to hang with Nicholas. So, all right. I'll try. Yep. Bye, everybody. Thanks. Ciao. All right. Could be a while. Who knows? I gotta rest. Bye. I'm out. Come on, phone. Close.